Hello everyone and welcome for another video of Love and War Games. In this video today we are going to cover the releases of Warcradle for October, and it is going to be the very first time that we have releases for both Armoured Clash and for Dystopian Wars. So yeah, I need to start to change the name of the news that we do every month. We're going to start with Armoured Clash first, and then we'll see what is coming out, because there is something coming out for Dystopian Wars and that nobody saw coming, because of reason that I will explain in a second. So first things first, let's start with Armoured Clash. You know that the main starter sets, and there are quite a few that we've covered already in detail, are coming out for Armoured Clash, and now is the time to have basically all the separate releases. So there's going to be 3 releases for each faction, 6 releases in total. The 2 normal plastic sprues and 1 for the what we would call a Battlefleet set, so with a flagship landship in resin. The first one that is out is the Sovereign Battlegroup set. Something that is a little bit surprising is that you can see here that there are some infantry in the in the cover, in the art. However, this box is only the Sovereign, and of course the Monarch, the alternative version. And having this box is huge because if you only bought the 2-player starter sets, or the smaller starter sets for each, like the introductionary set that have been released, you don't have this resin flagship. That's very sad. We need to see the price tag, of course, but having them in a separate box is great, because you can just buy this box if you have the Battle for Singapore, and then you have the Monarch and everything. Like, you're going to be very happy. Also, in the case that you want to start to spam them, uh, they are accessible quite easily because you're only going to get 1 or 2 sprues of armored squadrons as well. So very happy. We'll say the same about the Empire, but very happy with this. We can see that you're going to get 2 tanks, the Galahads, if I'm starting to remember now, and the heavy battery. I think one of them is called the Mordred, for sure. 5 cavalry and 4 uh, Ballistari, like whatever. The Black Watch Dragoons from Scotland. So this is what you get in the Sovereign Battle Group set. Let's hope it's going to be around 50 euros each. That would be like a fair price tag. Otherwise, well, we'll talk about it later if we receive them to make the Tactica. Something to note, we are not going to get, unfortunately, for our channel, the huge 1-player starter set. So it means that we will not get the Sovereign for the Crown or the giant landship of the Empire yet. I know that I asked yesterday and the boxes are not yet on the way. It's 24th of September now, so we'll probably receive them beginning of October at best, at very best. And so don't expect an unboxing and how to start before, I don't know, depends when we receive it, like before middle of October. And for us to have the resin landship in our hands, it's probably going to be end of October, beginning of November. Just a little heads up, if you were waiting for one of our videos, who knows, to see what those landships look like, do note that you're going to have to wait for quite a little bit. So as we've said, Sovereign and Monarch. I will not go in detail of who does what, because little teaser, I did see a lot of data sheets for like for most of the units in the starter set, not for the landships, and I don't want to try to think what has been publicly teased or released or in what has not been. So I don't want to take any risk to spoil rules that are not supposed to be public yet. So I'm not gonna say anything. But yeah, basically, it does. All the units do what they look like they should do. So you're gonna get resin landship in this. The Galahad medium tank that you can build as a breacher with little flamethrowers on the side, or a Tristan assault transport, which is a land raider. Then the Black Watch assault dragoon or heavy dragoon. This one, the heavy dragoon, is tankier, way tankier, and the assault dragoon, as you can see, is good in melee. Then the horse guard doing cavalry things. They want to charge, they get bonuses if they charge. Great. Mordred heavy artillery and Boars heavy bombard, 2 different variations of artillery with different ranges, different power, but both of them very cool and very thematic, and of course you want them in a British force. Same thing for the Empire side, the Laoshan Battle Group set. Everything that we said, landship that you can add on top if you didn't have the huge 1-player starter set. If you only bought the Battle of Singapore, this is going to be for sure the next purchase that you will want to have. And then you have 2 armored sprues. I think it's 2 sprues for sure. You have the Wutai, which is the beautiful artillery version, or the Laoshan, which is basically the kamikaze version. Like, if I'm being honest. Like, I don't see this thing surviving past turn 2 or 3. But yeah, probably the command version is the Wutai, and that's what I would build first. You get a lot of like heavy infantry, like the Green Banner Jezile team, some tanks, flame tanks, normal tanks, the line automatas, which I told you that they might be very defensive units that are because they look like a statue. Spoilers, no, I was completely wrong. I cannot spoil you the rules of what they are and what they do, but no, they are not guardians for your artillery as I hoped that would be because that's the style of this like statue that guards temples. Cannot spoil you, but that's not what they do. Steam bikes, doing steam bike things. I really like these units that I sheet, but again, I cannot spoil you. But this looks very fun to play. The steam bikes, probably one of my favorite units gameplay-wise of the entire Empire. And then the different artillery doing what I cannot spoil you again, but they do what they look like they would do. This probably it long. Okay, cannot spoil, but they're very cool as well. I think the Empire is really gonna have a great artillery as well. Like at first we were like, is it good? Is it not? Compared to the Crown, which looks like a artillery heavy faction. Let me tell you, they're gonna be way. They're gonna have way enough tools to answer to the Crown. Then you get the little separate boxes, so the Crown Armored Regiment, which is exactly the Sovereign Battlefleet's battle group set, except without the Sovereign. And well, we've talked about it already. Beautiful resin, plastic miniatures. I know it's very zoomed in, but look at those details. Like I love this artillery. The tanks are beautiful. Not a huge fan of the Black Wedge Dragoons, to be honest. It looks way too exposed to any sniper or shrapnel. And the cavalry. I'm not a big fan of cavalry, but they are mecha horse, so they're cool. Same for the Empire. The Empire Armored I can guess it's a regiment. Um, exactly what we've seen. Maybe we have a group pictures. No, we don't. Okay, it's fine. Crown Infantry Regiment. Well, again, it's going to be 2 sprues of like light infantry, and you got a lot of stuff that you will want to play with. You're going to get, of course, the mass of infantry platoon. You get 6 of those, which is basically like one size infantry, like minimal size infantry, which is still fair. You got some aerial infantry, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, the Spitfire Rocketeers, the Sharp Rifles, and the Rail Engineers Sapiers, which do look like you will have each of them. I thought at the beginning, and I was mistaken, that you would get it will be a dual kit. Let's say it's not. You will get both. Great. You also get the light artillery, the Drake field guns, which looks very fun, and the Stirling, which is the Rhino, basically, to be fast, and the Glamis mobile gun, which is uh, light artillery version, let's say. Like it's not a transport anymore, but it's a light artillery that is mobile. It's a mobile gun. That's what is written. Good to have the option to buy them separately as well. And same for the Empire. I'm going fast because we've already discussed quite a lot of these units. We'll go much more in detail when we make the unboxing and Tactica and everything. But yeah, that's a big scale Green Banner platoon. So you get a lot of infantry. The rocket platoons and the flame platoons are there. Be careful because the Jezails, a big sniper that look like a Skaven weapons team, are in the armored regiment, and the flames and the rockets are in the infantry, so light sprues. So be careful with that. Then you have the Tanche light launcher and the Biao flak launcher. Probably my biggest disappointment of all the datasheets that I've seen so far is going to be the Tanche. I cannot tell you the rules, but look at it. Look at it. Tell me what you think is the main particularity of this as an artillery piece. Like you compare this with the Drake field gun, with the standard non-moving artillery. What do you think would be the gimmick? How does it play cinematically? Imagine it on the battlefield. How do you believe it behaves? Well, there is a specific rules that completely cancels how I imagined this thing would play, and well, we will talk about it again in the Tactica. But really, why? I hope this rule will get cancelled at some point. Then you get the aerial infantry, the terracotta automatas, both very cool, very fun units. Love both of them. Like really, like I love how every single unit is played except these guys because, come on. And that is going to be it for the Armoured Clash. Basically, 3 boxes: the armored, the infantry, and then you can have armored plus landship in resin. Okay, we're expecting this. And it's good that you can start to add different things on top because the starter sets are usually, especially the big ones, with terrain. So maybe you don't want terrain anymore. So it's very good to have the option to buy this by the detail, like however many you want to add in your list. Very happy with that. And then we go to the big surprise. We didn't see that coming at all. It's the Khartoum Battlefleet set for Dystopian Wars for the Egyptians of the Sultanate. I'm extremely happy of this because, well, first of all, as you know, the Egyptians are one of my favorite factions, design-wise and maybe gameplay-wise as well. They are just a little bit expensive for what they do, quite a bit too much expensive for what they do. But it's just a point cost feeling. Like if they get a point reduction, which I really hope they will get, they're gonna be a good faction. Like their rules are solid. The big issue they had is that the only flagship for Egyptians was the Mass 4, and none of them were really good. You've seen the Tanis, the Abydos, and the last one I forgot the name, but they had these huge, massive ships. They were not so good. They were just simply not so good. Like you could try to fight with the Tanis or the Pharaohs as well, but they had really big weaknesses, and you didn't want to spam them. I know someone on the Discord bought 3 boxes, and they look beautiful, like but it's a bit too spammy for this, and they have way too many weaknesses. The mass ones for the Egyptians are really good. The mass twos, we'll talk about them in a second, are except one variation. They're all quite interesting, but they really miss the Mass 3. Like a combat dedicated Mass 3 that is not a repair platform, not a weird giant cannon floating, and not a aircraft carrier, basically. And now they get it with the Khartoum. There are 3 variants, and they basically are the Mass 2s, but bigger. We've seen this especially with the Indians, of just adding a little bit longer Mass 2 and calling it a Mass 3 battlecruiser, and that is what we get here. So we get the main namesake, the Khartoum, is going to be like, can I put it bigger? Yeah. So it is going to be this guy. So we can see that it has this. This is the heavy magnetic bombard, if I'm not mistaken. Well, this is the good weapon of the Mass 2s, and I just love the design of this guy. Like it looks so good. It really looks like a landship as well, to be fair. Like you can really imagine this just floating on the Dune Sea over Egypt or like let's say Sahara or something, and just floating around and making a huge cloud of dust behind. It looks like a floating palace. I love the citadel in the back like this. Gameplay wise, it's gonna have good long range firepower thanks to this. It is also going to get 2 front forward-facing heavy gun batteries, probably going to get some variants, and 2 small gun batteries there. It means that, especially at closing range, this is going to be a huge threat. Hopefully, it's going to be quite mobile, quite maneuverable. That is what we are expecting. And yeah, I really like this. If it's correctly priced, not too fragile, it is going to be a very good ship to have in your Egyptian fleet. Hopefully we will receive it and make an unboxing and Tactica and everything, but really this looks beautiful. Hopefully as well we will be able to replace some of the weapons with particle beamers if we want to dedicate it to really staying in the back and having long range firepower, especially when we consider this artillery. Another variant, and might be my favorite if I'm being absolutely honest, is the Kadesh. And this guy has the this kind of like a Rostratum Ballistae from the Italians. It's not what it is. It already was a weapon for the Egyptians, and it goes by default with all the rockets. So this is going to be much more dedicated long-range firepower. So it stays in the back and it sends all the rockets, either huge cruise missiles by those ballistic-looking guns, or of course the rockets, which, let's be honest, the rocket batteries of the Sultanate are just so beautiful. So probably more of a fire support unit. I think they said somewhere that it's more dedicated, yeah, for dealing with aerial threats. So maybe adding some additional dices against aerials, maybe rerollings if we're lucky, and we'll see what it does. But indeed, rockets are usually good against aerials because they don't degrade over distance. And if you get some additional rules, that would be really good. Aerials are not the weakness of the Egyptians. I would say the big weakness of the Egyptians are submerged units because they have very little torpedoes and not so great. Having a dedicated anti-air ship, which is beautiful by the way, could be good. And then there is the Osiris, which is not there. Okay, there it is. Thanks to the Markov's dossier team for publishing this from the reseller website. Now at least we have the picture. I'm sure I saw it. So again, little guns all around. So heavy gun batteries in the front, 2 gun batteries to the rear, And here we have the empty space. We thought it could be a place to send some repris maybe, or to land some troops. Nope. Apparently this is to send some torpedoes. We hope it's going to be at least a heavy torpedo salvo, which is, I don't know, the Egyptians really are missing torpedoes. So hopefully this is what it's going to be. And also this works for all the mass 3s. Hopefully they will be able to be transformed into repris carriers like the mass 2 by attaching those little scarab drones along the side. Like you can see there is a lot of empty space, let's say, on the, if you see my mouse right here, and being a good carrier for repris would be convenient. Then we have, of course, all the previous mass 2s that we've known. I will not talk about them again in detail. We can see that the Sabah, which is the artillery version, has again this giant ballistae that is here. We love the Sabah. They are probably the best mass 2 of the Egyptians right now, give or take. Well, that's my opinion. I know we have some debates on the Discord sometimes, but I love it, and it gives me good hope for the Kadesh, sorry, if it gets the same weapon, maybe a little bit boosted. Maybe it can be attached with the Sabah, but no, that would be too strong. Then you get the Mesektet, which has torpedoes, but it's like, what does it do? Well, it's cheap. Well, I will not go in detail again. That would not be a good idea. I will keep this later on for the Tactica. The Sobek with a heavy gun battery or rocket to the front, and Mesektet again because, well, apparently they didn't check very much before sending this blog online. But there is a fourth variant, which is, I completely forgot the name, the Manjet. The Manjet is the other one. And finally, you're gonna have in this box, so two mass 2s, but you're also gonna get two mass 1s, and of course the little base for the reprise. And the mass 1s are really good for the Egyptians. You can build the Hashashin or the Kopesh, I think it's the name. And this is, both of them are very good. They basically, one is more maneuverable, one is more DPS oriented, but both are really, really good. And that's it. We've covered all the releases for October for Warcradle. So a lot of Armoured Clash, but it's things that we've already known, and maybe you will not want so many of them because you want to buy quite a few times the starters, which are a great deal. Maybe you will need especially the Sovereign and the Laoshan if you've only bought the Battle for Singapore yet. And finally, the Khartoum, which is great for the Egyptian players. Egypt only had one box, this is their second box, and it really will help them feel like a real faction with these new flagships. I think the Khartoum, depending on the stats, the price tag of the flagship, etc., could be a box that will be cheap in euros, probably something like 45 or 50 euros, maybe 54 maximum, and then minus 10% on maybe place on all of this if you would like, of course, remember, and then you can choose us and we get 2% back. Thank you if you do that. But yeah, you can get the Khartoum at probably around 50 euros, and this makes me think maybe you will want to buy an Abydos if you don't have it already, and then one or two Khartoum to really build the front line, maybe having one ship, the Khartoum, in the front, maybe having the Osiris in the back, and really starting to look like a real fleet with mass 1s, mass 2s, mass 3s, and the mass 4, of course, that are still fine, especially if you can put a ship in front of them that will help absorb the enemy's firepower. Thank you very much for having watched until the end. Sorry for the sound quality if it was not so good. I'm recording this at the lunch break at work because I wanted to cover this as fast as possible for you, especially if you were just on the fence of do I buy Armoured Clash or not? Should I buy the bigger starter set? Because how am I gonna get the Sovereign or the Laoshan later? Well, now you have the answer. As always, give us a thumbs up. It really helps all the YouTube things. You can subscribe and give us a comment. We are like less than 100 subscriber away from reaching our goal at 1500. And then we're going to have two winners and we're going to start the new contest, which is going to be quite insane, I promise you. And of course, as always, just give us a comment to gain a ticket, a chance. Let us know what you think of these releases. Are you interested in the Khartoum? Are you going to buy those boxes for Armoured Clash? Or are you more interested in, I don't know, just buying the starter over and over again? Maybe. Let us know. We are soon going to make a few Tacticas for War Machine. Finally, we are covering this very soon. Then we're also covering the news for Conquest, like 4 or 5 days after. I'm trying to space out the videos a little bit. And then I have a few battle reports that need to be published. But I'm trying to cover the news first, the Tacticas, what to build. And then when I have time, I build and I publish the battle reports. If you would like this the other way around and battle reports first, let me know in the comments and I will adapt to what you guys prefer. Thank you very much. Until the next video, take care of yourself and remember to keep everything fair in love and war game. Bye.